Few experiences shape us more powerfully than success and failure. A win can make us feel capable, confident, even unstoppable. A failure can drain motivation, trigger self-doubt, and linger long after the moment has passed. But what if these reactions aren't purely emotional? What if they're deeply neurological, hardwired responses that evolved to keep us alive? To understand why success boosts us and failure sometimes crushes us, we need to look inside the brain and see how it processes reward, threat, and learning. When you succeed, your brain activates its reward system. Dopamine is released, not just as pleasure, but as a signal that says, this behavior works. This strengthens the neural pathways connected to whatever led to that success. Your brain is essentially marking that experience as valuable and worth repeating. Success doesn't just feel good. It teaches your brain what to do again. This is how habits, skills, and confidence are built over time. Failure activates a very different system. Instead of reward, your brain often interprets failure as a threat. The amygdala, the brain's alarm center, becomes active, releasing stress hormones like cortisol. This response evolved to protect us from danger, but in modern life, it often misfires. A failed exam or rejected idea isn't life-threatening, yet your brain reacts as if it might be. Your brain doesn't always separate outcomes from identity. When failure happens, the emotional brain often interprets it as evidence of who you are, not what happened. This is why failure feels personal, even when it shouldn't. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic and perspective, gets overridden by emotional processing. Instead of seeing failure as feedback, the brain treats it as a verdict. Success reinforces existing neural pathways. Failure, however, creates prediction errors. When expectations aren't met, the brain receives a powerful learning signal. Something needs adjustment. Ironically, failure has more potential for growth than success if the brain interprets it correctly. The problem is emotional overload often blocks learning. After success, motivation tends to increase. Your brain associates effort with reward, making action feel worthwhile. After failure, motivation can either drop or sharpen, depending on how the brain processes the experience. If failure is framed as threat, the brain chooses avoidance. If framed as information, the brain adapts. The difference isn't willpower, it's interpretation. A fixed mindset treats failure as proof of limitation. A growth-oriented brain treats failure as data. Neurologically, this changes everything. When failure is interpreted as learning, emotional reactivity decreases and cognitive processing increases. The brain stays engaged instead of shutting down. This isn't positive thinking, it's neural framing. Success isn't always harmless. Repeated success can reduce sensitivity to feedback. Dopamine spikes can create overconfidence, leading to risk-taking and blind spots. The brain may stop evaluating alternatives and ignore warning signals. Without reflection, success can limit growth just as much as failure. The key isn't avoiding failure or chasing success. It's training your brain's response to both. Pausing after outcomes allows the prefrontal cortex to regain control. Asking, "What can I learn?" instead of "What does this say about me?" shifts neural processing from threat to growth. This rewiring takes repetition, not perfection. Your brain's reaction to success and failure shapes your future more than the outcomes themselves. It determines whether you repeat behaviors, avoid challenges, or adapt intelligently. Those who grow aren't immune to failure. They're neurologically trained to use it. When you understand how your brain responds, you gain leverage, not over outcomes, but over how those outcomes shape you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a scientific day.